Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Temple football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. It will be great. We appreciate if you do that. I have a subscriber goal of 200 subscribers by August 24th, which I'd love to hit, which is 2 weeks from now. We're about 50 subscribers away, so go ahead and hit that subscriber button if you're not subscribed already. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that, and you won't regret it. Temple, a team that surprised a lot of people last year. Let's see if they do that this year. We'll go through the pros and cons, the best case and worst case scenario, your 3 toughest and 3 easiest games. Then we'll go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have Temple winning and losing, give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. One other quick note before I continue, don't hold me to the game by game picks, just hold me to the final record prediction and conference record prediction. So let's start off with the pros and cons. 1 pro and 2 cons. Your 1 pro is the offense. The Temple offense should be pretty good this year. They'll probably lead this team to some victories this year against some of these teams. So I really think the Temple offense as a whole is going to be pretty good this year. That's your 1 pro. Your 2 cons, new coach. Always a little bit leery about a team with a first-year head coach. Those teams always seem to take a step back. So to me, that's a con for Temple. And then your second con isn't completely your fault, but you're in the American. Listen, the American is gonna be pretty competitive this year. I can make an argument that the American could be better than the ACC this year. So I do think that the American is going to be pretty good this year. I mean, you look at the American alone: Central Florida, South Florida, Cincinnati, Houston as your 4 top teams. Then you have Temple and Memphis, and then like Tulane, SMU, even like teams like Navy and like East Carolina. I mean, it's going to be very competitive in the American this year. So that's a con in my opinion. Best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule right here in front of you. Your best case scenario is 10-2. I just think you're losing at least 10 games. Not 10 games. I think you're losing at least 2 games on this schedule. Which 2? I don't know. But I think looking at the schedule at a glance, you're losing at least 2 games. Worst case scenario, 6-6. I do think Temple makes a bowl game this year, so 6-6 will be the record I will project as your worst case scenario. Because this schedule, I mean, you're going to be playing in the American, and you're going to lose games in the American just because teams are better than you or they're just at the same level as you. Your 3 toughest games are Central Florida, Cincinnati, and South Florida. Central Florida, no explanation there. They were the back-to-back Group of 5 representatives in the New Year's Six Bowls. Cincinnati, a team that is really growing. Last year, they surprised people. This year, they're expected to be good again. And then South Florida. South Florida, a team, they struggled in the second half of the year last year, but this year, I mean, I think with that defense, they could win 8. They can win 9, 10, maybe even 11 games. Your easiest games are UConn, Bucknell, and East Carolina. UConn, worst team in the American. Bucknell, FCS school. East Carolina, I put them down because I couldn't really come up with like a third team. I thought about maybe Tulane. But to me, Tulane is better than East Carolina. I thought maybe even Buffalo or Georgia Tech, but Buffalo was good last year, and Georgia Tech, I'm not going to put a Power 5 school as your third easiest game as a Group of 5 school. So I think East Carolina is your third easiest game. Now let's go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have Temple winning and losing. First game, Bucknell at home. This will be a win for Temple, 59-8. The only Bucknell is a school in Pennsylvania. If you guys don't know, I think it's like I want to say in the Lancaster area, but I'm not 100% sure. But Bucknell should be an easy win for Temple, 59-8. Then you get your first bye week. Every team gets 2 bye weeks because of how the calendar aligns with the schedule this year. So every team gets 2 bye weeks. Coming off the bye week, Maryland at home. Last year, you beat us by 3 touchdowns. And by the way, I am a Maryland Terps fan. You beat us by 3 touchdowns. we play like dog shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we'll play any worse than we played you last year. If anything, I think we'll play you better. All right, back and forth with this one. It's in Temple, but that is not really a home field advantage. I gave it to my Terps. If you already watched the Maryland football prediction video, you already know that I picked the Terps in this one by a field goal, 30-27 Maryland. Next game at Buffalo, arguably the best team in the MAC. By the way, I haven't done a Buffalo football prediction video yet, but that's coming probably the week of the 11th in August, so like 2 weeks from now or whatever. But anyways, Buffalo, a team in my opinion that really I really think that they are gonna be very good. I have Temple losing this one. He lost them last year by a touchdown. A bit closer this year, 5-point loss, 33-28. Buffalo in this one. Next game, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a team, in my opinion, that I think they're going to be pretty bad. And I have Georgia. I do have Temple being Georgia Tech. The game's in Temple, 30-19. Georgia Tech, they'll be doing the whole offense. It's going to be a terrible offense. Next game at East Carolina. East Carolina is one of those schools. And by the way, this game's a Thursday night, the East Carolina game. East Carolina is one of those schools that are going to be approved this year, but I don't know if they could compete really with the top teams. I have Temple getting by East Carolina by 8 points, 45-37 Temple. Next game, Memphis. Memphis is a school, in my opinion, that they are going to be a very good offense, a very bad defense. If you watch the Memphis football prediction video, you already know who I have in this one. I went back and forth with it. I gave it to Temple by 8 points, 38-30 Temple. Next game at SMU. Another team, kind of a weaker version of Memphis. Very good offense, but the defense will struggle this year. Then SMU went back and forth with it. I do think Temple's the better team. I picked Temple to get by SMU. 42-34 Temple in this one. Next game, Central Florida. Central Florida, to me, is the best team in the American going into this season. I do think Houston can contest that, but Central Florida is the best team going into this year in the American. I went back and forth with this one. I decided to go ahead and pick Central Florida. I know the game's in Temple. I know you competed with them last year in a shootout. I think this year is a shootout again, but give me Central Florida to squeak by Temple 48-44. If you saw the Central Florida football prediction video, you already knew that. Next game at South Florida. Well, actually, before the South Florida game, you get your second bye week. But next game, Thursday night game at South Florida. If you already watched the South Florida football prediction video, you already know who I have in this one. I do have South Florida beating Temple 35-27. I just think that South Florida is a bit better than Temple. The game's in South Florida. It's going to still be pretty hot up down there. Give me South Florida 35-27. Next game, Tulane at home. Tulane's one of those teams that are going to be middle of the road. I went back and forth with it. I personally think that Tulane is going to be a decent team this year, but their schedule is brutal, and I think Temple wins this game. I think Temple is the better team. 40-27 Temple. Next game at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is one of those teams that they're going to be really good this year. This game's in Cincinnati. Cincinnati to me is a better team. I gave it to Cincinnati. 20-14 Cincinnati. And then your final game of the year at home against UConn, win. UConn's a terrible team, 52-7 Temple in this one. So that's the game-by-game picks. If you count up all the wins and losses, I have Temple going 7-5 with a 5-3 conference record. 7-5 with a 5-3 conference record. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.